Classic Richest, written and published by Rich Audiobooks. Joe's most telling sign of true wealth isn't found in what someone says, but rather in what they don't say. Walk into any high-stakes business meeting, exclusive social gathering, or private club, and you'll notice a fascinating pattern. The wealthiest people are often the quietest ones in the room. They possess an almost magnetic ability to draw others out, learning more about the people around them while revealing little about themselves. This calculated approach to communication isn't merely coincidental. It's a deliberately cultivated skill that has likely contributed to their success. When others speak, the truly wealthy listen with an intensity that makes the speaker feel like the most important person in the room. Their questions are thoughtful and purposeful, designed not to showcase their own knowledge, but to extract valuable insights from others. They understand that every conversation is an opportunity to learn something new, gain a fresh perspective, or uncover a hidden opportunity. The art of strategic silence extends beyond mere politeness or social grace. It's rooted in the understanding that information is currency, and every word spoken is a transaction. The wealthy recognize that, while others rush to fill silence with chatter, real power lies in careful observation and selective response. They've learned through experience that the person who speaks first or most frequently isn't necessarily the one who wields the most influence. Lesson 1. They listen more than they speak. Consider how this manifests in negotiations, where the ability to listen carefully often determines the outcome. While less experienced people might eagerly present their entire position up front, the truly wealthy person waits, watches, and listens. They understand that each word others speak reveals something about their motivations, fears, and desires. This patient approach allows them to respond with precision rather than reaction, addressing the core issues rather than surface-level concerns. The habit of listening more than speaking also creates an aura of mystery that naturally attracts others. When someone speaks sparingly but meaningfully, their words carry more weight. The wealthy have learned that scarcity creates value not just in economics, but in communication as well. Their measured responses become anticipated and valued, while those who constantly share their thoughts often find their words carrying less impact over time. This trait manifests itself in social situations as well. At gatherings, the truly wealthy often position themselves as curious observers rather than the center of attention. They ask engaging questions about others' experiences, passions, and perspectives. This approach not only yields valuable insights, but also builds genuine connections. People remember them not for what they said about themselves, but for how intently they listened and how thoughtful their questions were. The practice of listening more than speaking also serves as a powerful filter for information. In a world where everyone is competing to be heard, the wealthy person filters through the noise by listening carefully for what isn't being said. They've learned to read between the lines, picking up on subtle cues that others miss while they're busy talking. This skill often leads them to opportunities that others overlook, simply because they've trained themselves to hear what others don't. Perhaps most importantly, this trait reflects a fundamental understanding that true wealth isn't just about financial assets, it's about wisdom. And wisdom comes from listening, observing, and processing information before acting upon it. The wealthy person knows that every conversation is an opportunity to grow richer, not just in monetary terms, but in understanding, relationships, and insight. Their silence isn't empty, it's filled with active listening, careful analysis, and strategic thinking. Learning to listen more than you speak is perhaps one of the most valuable skills you can develop on your path to true wealth. It requires discipline, patience, and a willingness to set aside your ego. But the rewards, in terms of relationships built, opportunities discovered, and wisdom gained, far outweigh the momentary satisfaction of hearing your own voice. Lesson 2. They wear quality, not logos. The true wealthy understand that authentic luxury whispers rather than shouts. While nouveau riche might gravitate toward flashy logos and obvious brand names, those with generational wealth and deep financial security tend to seek out understated excellence in their wardrobe choices. They recognize that true quality manifests in the subtle details, the hand-stitched seams, the superior fabric weight, the precise cut that comes from masterful tailoring. This distinction traces back to the fundamental difference between craftsmanship and marketing. A well-made garment speaks through its materials, construction, and fit, elements that become apparent only upon closer inspection. The wealthy appreciate these nuances because they understand value beyond surface-level appearances. They know that a meticulously crafted piece from an obscure artisan often surpasses the quality of mass-produced items from luxury brands, regardless of the label's prestige. This approach to clothing reflects a broader philosophy about wealth and status. Those who are truly secure in their position feel no need to broadcast it through obvious visual signals. Instead, they invest in pieces that offer genuine utility and pleasure. Suits that drape perfectly, shoes that improve with age, watches that will be passed down through generations. These items aren't chosen for their ability to impress others, but for the personal satisfaction they provide through their excellence. The art of recognizing quality becomes second nature to the wealthy. They develop an eye for the telltale signs of superior craftsmanship, the density of stitching, the symmetry of patterns, the way a fabric moves and feels. This knowledge isn't acquired overnight. It comes from years of exposure and experience, often passed down through family or learned through mentorship. The wealthy take pride in this expertise, using it to build wardrobes that stand the test of time both in style and durability. This preference for quality over conspicuous branding also reflects financial wisdom. While logo-heavy items often depreciate rapidly as trends change, well-made classics retain their value and functionality. The wealthy understand that paying more for quality initially often results in better value over time. A handcrafted leather briefcase might cost several times more than its mass-produced counterpart, but it will provide decades of use while developing a unique patina that tells the story of its journey. The truly rich also recognize that their choice of clothing sends subtle signals about their judgment and values. When they enter a room, their attire communicates sophistication through its fit and fabric, rather than through obvious brand signatures. This understated approach often garners more genuine respect than flashier alternatives, particularly among peers who share their appreciation for quality. In social and professional settings, this distinction becomes particularly apparent. While others might compete with visible status symbols, the wealthy person's wardrobe choices reflect confidence that doesn't require external validation. Their clothing serves their needs and preferences first, with any social impact being secondary. This authenticity in dress often becomes part of their personal brand, one built on substance rather than show. The wealthy person's closet tells a story of careful curation rather than conspicuous consumption. Each piece has a purpose, and nothing is purchased solely for its label. This thoughtful approach to dress extends beyond clothing to all personal effects, from luggage to accessories. The result is a coherent personal style that emphasizes quality, longevity, and understated elegance, hallmarks of true wealth that transcend temporary trends and fleeting fashions. Lesson 3. They never overshare their net worth. The truly wealthy understand that discretion about financial matters isn't just good manners, it's intelligent strategy. While social media influencers and nouveau riche regularly broadcast their latest purchases and account balances, those with generational wealth or self-made success practice the art of financial privacy with steadfast discipline. This discretion stems from a deep understanding that wealth attracts complexity. The moment others become aware of significant financial resources, relationships change, often imperceptibly at first. Family members might feel entitled to support, acquaintances may suddenly appear with business propositions, and casual conversations can transform into subtle attempts to extract information or advantages. The wealthy recognize these dynamics and choose to sidestep them entirely through careful privacy. Consider the approach of many Silicon Valley billionaires who drive modest cars and live in relatively understated homes. Their wealth is well documented in SEC filings and Forbes lists, yet they rarely discuss it publicly. This isn't false modesty. It's a sophisticated understanding that financial privacy creates space for normal human interactions and authentic relationships. It allows them to move through the world experiencing genuine connections rather than constantly managing others' expectations and desires. The practice of financial privacy extends beyond avoiding direct discussions of net worth. It encompasses a broader approach to handling wealth conversations. When asked about success, the truly wealthy often redirect conversations to focus on their work, their passions, or the problems they're trying to solve. They understand that their value lies not in their bank accounts, but in their ideas, efforts, and contributions to their chosen fields. This discretion also serves as a powerful security measure. In an age of increasing cybercrime and targeted attacks, information about personal wealth can make people and their families vulnerable. The wealthy know that every casual mention of assets, investments, or financial success can be pieced together by those with malicious intent. They treat financial privacy as an essential component of their personal security strategy. The most sophisticated practitioners of financial privacy have mastered the art of deflection without seeming evasive. They might acknowledge success in general terms while keeping specific details private. They understand that there's a vast difference between being dishonest and choosing not to share personal information. This nuanced approach allows them to remain truthful while maintaining appropriate boundaries. Operational relationships particularly benefit from this approach. When negotiating deals or exploring opportunities, knowledge of someone's true financial position can dramatically alter the dynamics. By maintaining privacy about their net worth, the wealthy ensure that discussions focus on the merits of ideas and opportunities rather than personal financial circumstances. This leads to better decisions and more equitable partnership. The truly rich also understand that financial privacy helps preserve wealth across generations. They teach their children the value of discretion early, knowing that oversharing about family wealth can burden young people with unwanted attention and unrealistic expectations from peers. This lesson in privacy becomes part of a larger education about wealth stewardship and responsible financial behavior. This commitment to privacy extends to their digital presence as well. While others might showcase luxury purchases or exotic vacations on social media, the genuinely wealthy often maintain minimal digital footprints regarding their financial lives. They recognize that in our interconnected world, every post, comment, or share becomes part of a permanent record that can impact future opportunities and relationships. The art of financial privacy isn't about being secretive or untruthful. It's about understanding that true wealth brings with it the responsibility of discretion. Those who have achieved significant success know that their financial status is just one aspect of who they are, and often not the most interesting or important one. By keeping their net worth private, they create space for their other qualities, achievements, and relationships to take center stage. Lesson 4. They invest in privacy, not attention. In an age where attention has become a currency, the truly wealthy understand that privacy is the ultimate luxury. While social media influencers chase followers and reality TV stars broadcast their daily lives, those who have built substantial wealth often move in the opposite direction, carefully crafting zones of privacy that protect their peace, security, and freedom of movement. The wealthy's approach to privacy extends far beyond simply staying off social media. It manifests in their choice of residences, often selecting homes set back from main roads or in gated communities not for prestige, but for the buffer they provide from the public eye. Their properties frequently feature sophisticated security systems, not just for protection, but to create sanctuary-like spaces where they can truly be themselves without constant observation. Their dedication to privacy shapes their professional lives as well. Many successful people operate through carefully structured networks of trusted advisors, using private offices rather than shared workspaces, and maintaining separate business and personal contact information. They understand that each point of public contact is a potential vulnerability, not just to their security, but to their ability to operate effectively in their chosen field. The truly rich recognize that privacy enables authentic relationships. When people don't know your net worth or the extent of your influence, they're more likely to interact with you genuinely rather than with agenda-driven motives. This creates space for real connections, uncolored by financial considerations. It's why many wealthy people maintain small, tight-knit social circles rather than extensive networks of superficial acquaintances. Judicial privacy receives particular attention from the affluent. They employ sophisticated measures to protect their online presence, often using private browsers, encrypted communication channels, and professional services to manage their digital footprint. Unlike those who document every achievement or acquisition on social media, they understand that digital breadcrumbs can create security risks and unwanted attention. The wealthy's investment in privacy extends to their children, whom they often shield from the potential burdens of visible wealth. They recognize that privacy allows their children to develop their own identities and relationships without the distorting influence of public knowledge about their family's resources. This protection often includes careful choices about schools, social activities, and media exposure. Transportation choices reflect this priority as well. While others might opt for flashy vehicles that draw attention, many wealthy people choose understated luxury cars or maintain multiple vehicles to avoid predictable patterns. Some even use car services with unmarked vehicles, prioritizing discretion over display. This investment in privacy yields dividends beyond personal security. It creates the mental space needed for clear thinking and decision-making, uncluttered by the noise of public opinion or the pressure to maintain appearances. Privacy becomes a competitive advantage, allowing the wealthy to move deliberately and strategically while others broadcast their every move. The truly rich understand that attention is fleeting, but privacy is enduring. They recognize that the ability to control one's exposure to the world is increasingly rare and valuable. In their view, privacy isn't about hiding, it's about creating space for what matters most: family, personal growth, strategic thinking, and the quiet pursuit of meaningful goals. This perspective shapes not just their security measures, but their entire approach to living and working in a world that increasingly demands constant visibility. Lesson 5. They value time over trends. Time is the great equalizer, the one resource that even the wealthiest person on earth cannot buy more of. The truly affluent understand this fundamental truth at their core, and it shapes every decision they make. While others chase the latest fashion, technology, or social media trend, those with genuine wealth take a longer view, treating time as their most precious commodity. This perspective manifests in how the wealthy approach their daily lives. They recognize that each minute spent pursuing temporary validation through trending items or fleeting experiences is a minute lost from building lasting value. Their homes often feature classic architecture rather than following current design fads. Their investments focus on enduring assets rather than speculative crazes. Their relationships are cultivated over years, not based on who's currently influential. The truly rich have learned to ask themselves a crucial question before any commitment: will this matter in 5 years? This simple filter helps them avoid the exhausting cycle of constant trend chasing that depletes both time and resources. They understand that true luxury isn't about having the newest item, but about having the freedom to choose how they spend their hours. This devotion to time over trends extends into their learning habits. While others might skip from one business bestseller to the next, the wealthy often study classics, history, and timeless principles. They know that fundamental truths about human nature, economics, and success rarely change, even as their packaging does. This approach gives them a depth of understanding that trend followers rarely achieve. The wealthy also create environments that reflect this priority. Their spaces are designed to maximize productivity and peace of mind, not to showcase the latest decorating trend. Their schedules are structured to protect their most productive hours, often rising early to work on their most important projects before the world's demands intrude. They understand that an hour of focused work in the morning can be worth more than 3 hours of scattered effort later in the day. This mindset influences their approach to technology as well. While they may own the latest devices, they're not enslaved by them. They use technology as a tool to save time, not as a way to fill it. You won't find them mindlessly scrolling through social media or jumping on every new platform. Instead, they carefully select tools and platforms that genuinely enhance their productivity and connection. Their social lives reflect this same principle. Rather than attending every trending event or restaurant opening, they choose gatherings that deepen important relationships or advance meaningful goals. They understand that social capital, like financial capital, compounds over time when invested wisely. A quiet dinner with long-term friends or industry peers often yields more value than being seen at the latest hotspot. Perhaps most importantly, the wealthy recognize that trends are often designed to separate people from their money and time. They see through marketing that creates artificial urgency or fear of missing out. Instead of rushing to participate in every new phenomenon, they wait to see what endures. This patience not only preserves their time, but often saves them from costly mistakes that come from jumping on unproven trends too quickly. The truly rich have discovered that time invested in personal growth, meaningful relationships, and careful observation of opportunities yields far greater returns than chasing the next big thing. They live by the understanding that wealth isn't just about accumulating money, it's about having the freedom to spend your time in ways that truly matter to you. Lesson 6. They own, not lease, their status. True wealth manifests in ownership not just of assets, but of one's entire presence and position in life. The genuinely affluent understand that borrowed status is as fleeting as a rented luxury car, while owned status becomes an intrinsic part of one's character that no market fluctuation can diminish. This ownership mentality begins with personal development. The truly wealthy invest heavily in their knowledge, skills, and capabilities, assets that can never be repossessed. They pursue mastery in their chosen fields, knowing that expertise creates a foundation of confidence that doesn't require external validation. Whether it's industry knowledge, artistic talent, or technical prowess, they build competences that become permanent pillars of their identity. The distinction between leasing and owning status plays out clearly in social situations. Those who lease their status often name-drop, reference their connections, or showcase luxury items to establish their position. In contrast, those who own their status simply are. They don't need to mention their achievements or relationships because their expertise and capability naturally emerge through their actions and decisions. Their authority comes from within, not from association with external markers of success. This principle extends to material possessions as well. While the wealthy certainly own valuable assets, they typically acquire them through careful consideration rather than immediate gratification. They understand that true ownership means having the means to maintain and enhance their acquisitions over time. This patient approach applies whether they're building a business, developing a real estate portfolio, or collecting art. They focus on sustainable ownership rather than temporary possession. The ownership mindset also influences how the truly wealthy approach relationships. Instead of collecting superficial connections for show, they invest in deep, meaningful relationships built on mutual respect and genuine interest. These relationships become part of their social capital, not as transactions to be leveraged, but as authentic bonds that enrich their lives and create lasting value for all involved. Perhaps most importantly, those who own their status take full responsibility for their choices and outcomes. They don't blame circumstances or others for their failures, nor do they attribute their successes solely to luck. This ownership of both triumphs and setbacks builds credibility and earns respect far more effectively than any borrowed credentials ever could. The wealthy also own their mistakes and learning experiences. Rather than trying to maintain a facade of perfection, they acknowledge their journey and the lessons learned along the way. This authenticity becomes part of their status, a testament to their resilience and wisdom, rather than a mark against their reputation. In professional settings, this ownership mentality manifests as a focus on creating rather than consuming value. Instead of chasing titles or positions for their prestige, the truly wealthy seek opportunities to build something meaningful. They understand that sustainable status comes from contribution and impact, not from temporary roles or affiliations. The concept of owning versus leasing status extends to personal style and taste as well. Rather than following trends or adopting others' preferences, the wealthy develop their own authentic aesthetic and lifestyle choices. They own their decisions, even when they diverge from current fashions or popular opinion. This confidence in their choices becomes another facet of their unshakable status. Those who own their status understand that true wealth is self-perpetuating. The more they invest in their knowledge, relationships, and capabilities, the more their authentic status grows. This creates a virtuous cycle where their influence and impact naturally expand without the need for artificial props or borrowed prestige. Their status becomes as much a part of them as their own signature, unique, inimitable, and wholly owned. Lesson 7. They walk with quiet confidence. True wealth carries itself with an unmistakable yet unstated grace. The genuinely affluent possess a form of confidence that never needs to announce itself. It simply exists as naturally as breathing. This quiet self-assurance stems not from external validation, but from a deep-rooted sense of self-worth built through experience, achievement, and self-awareness. The physical manifestation of quiet confidence begins with posture, but extends far beyond simply standing straight. It's evident in the unhurried way wealthy people move through space, neither rushing nor dawdling, but proceeding with intentional purpose. Their movements are fluid and economical, reflecting an inner certainty that they belong wherever they are. This physical presence communicates competence and capability without a single word being spoken. Watch closely how the truly wealthy enter a room. They don't burst in seeking attention or slink in apologetically. Instead, they enter with calm awareness, taking in their surroundings while remaining centered in themselves. Their eyes are alert but not darting, their expressions pleasant but not eager to please. This balanced presence draws others naturally toward them rather than requiring any overt effort to command attention. The voice of quiet confidence speaks volumes as well. The wealthy rarely feel compelled to fill silence with nervous chatter or to raise their volume to dominate conversation. Their words carry weight because they're chosen carefully and delivered with conviction rather than urgency. The tone is measured, neither aggressive nor timid, but clear and purposeful. This vocal confidence comes from knowing that their words have value, not from trying to prove it to others. Body language plays a crucial role in projecting quiet confidence. The truly rich maintain comfortable eye contact without staring, offer firm but not crushing handshakes, and keep their gestures controlled and deliberate. Their stance is open rather than defensive, and they occupy their space fully without encroaching on others. These subtle physical cues communicate strength and security without any need for dominance displays. Quiet confidence also manifests in the ability to acknowledge mistakes and limitations without shame or defensiveness. The wealthy understand that true strength lies not in pretending to be perfect, but in being secure enough to be honest about their humanity. They can admit when they don't know something, ask for help when needed, and learn from others without feeling diminished. This form of confidence is particularly powerful because it's sustainable. Unlike the brittle bravado of those trying to prove their worth through external displays, quiet confidence doesn't drain energy or require constant maintenance. It's built on a foundation of real accomplishment, continuous learning, and genuine self-acceptance. The wealthy know their value comes from within, not from others' recognition or approval. The most compelling aspect of quiet confidence is its magnetic effect on opportunities and relationships. People naturally trust and want to work with those who exhibit genuine self-assurance without arrogance. Doors open more easily for those who carry themselves with quiet dignity, as others instinctively sense their capability and reliability. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle where confidence attracts success, which in turn deepens confidence. Developing this trait requires conscious practice but yields exponential returns. It begins with building genuine competence in your chosen field, cultivating self-awareness, and learning to trust your judgment while remaining open to growth. The goal isn't to appear confident, but to become truly secure in who you are and what you bring to any situation. When you achieve this state, you'll find that wealth isn't just about what you own, it's about how you carry yourself through life. Lesson 8. They observe before acting. The truly wealthy understand that patience and observation are not passive states, but rather active forms of intelligence gathering that precede meaningful action. In a world that increasingly rewards quick reactions and instant responses, the ability to step back and observe has become a rare and valuable trait that distinguishes those who build lasting wealth from those who chase temporary gains. Consider how a master chess player studies the board before making a move, analyzing multiple potential scenarios and their consequences. The wealthy approach their business and personal decisions with similar strategic depth. They recognize that most situations are more complex than they initially appear, and that the first obvious solution is rarely the most advantageous one. This deliberate approach to decision-making has repeatedly proven to be a cornerstone of sustainable success. The practice of observation extends beyond mere watching. It involves engaging all senses and processing information on multiple levels. The truly rich have developed an acute awareness of market cycles, human behavior patterns, and subtle shifts in their industry landscapes. They notice the small details that others overlook, changes in consumer behavior, emerging technologies, or shifts in social dynamics that might impact their investments or business ventures. This observational prowess often manifests in their ability to spot opportunities where others see only challenges. While the masses might react to a market downturn with panic, the observant wealthy individual sees potential buying opportunities. They've trained themselves to recognize patterns and anomalies that signal upcoming changes, allowing them to position themselves advantageously before others catch on. The wealthy also understand that observation is a two-way street. They're acutely aware of how they're perceived by others and consciously manage their presence and actions accordingly. This self-awareness comes from years of studying successful people and understanding the subtle dynamics of influence and power. They know that every action they take sends a message, and they carefully consider these messages before acting. Their observational skills extend to reading people and situations with remarkable accuracy. They've learned to notice inconsistencies between what people say and what their body language reveals, between market predictions and actual market behavior, between public sentiment and private actions. This ability to see beyond the surface has helped them avoid countless pitfalls and identify genuine opportunities. The practice of observation before action also serves as a natural filter against impulsive decisions. The wealthy know that emotional reactions to market changes, business proposals, or investment opportunities often lead to suboptimal outcomes. By creating a buffer of observation time between stimulus and response, they allow themselves to process information more thoroughly and make decisions based on complete data rather than partial information or emotional impulses. This measured approach doesn't mean they're slow to act when necessary. Instead, they've developed the wisdom to distinguish between situations that require immediate action and those that benefit from further observation. When they do act, their decisions are informed by a deep understanding of the situation at hand, making their moves more precise and effective. The wealthy also understand that observation is a skill that can be continuously refined. They regularly seek out new perspectives and information sources that might challenge their existing views. They're willing to admit when their observations have been incorrect and adjust their understanding accordingly. This commitment to learning through observation keeps them adaptable and resilient in an ever-changing world. In essence, the practice of observation before action represents a higher form of strategic thinking that characterizes the truly wealthy. It's an approach that values understanding over immediate gratification, wisdom over quick wins, and thoughtful action over reactive behavior. This trait alone often separates those who build lasting wealth from those who merely chase it. Lesson 9. They control rooms with presence, not noise. True wealth carries a gravitational force that requires no announcement. The most financially accomplished people understand that commanding attention doesn't mean demanding it. Their mere presence shifts the energy of any room they enter. This magnetic quality stems from a cultivated combination of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and earned authority that manifests naturally through their being rather than their doing. Consider how a master conductor leads an orchestra without making a sound. Their subtle gestures, purposeful movements, and unwavering focus guide dozens of musicians to create harmony. Similarly, the truly wealthy navigate social and professional spaces with a refined understanding of energy and influence. They don't interrupt conversations or raise their voices to be heard. Instead, they create moments of impact through measured responses and strategic silence. This ability to control rooms with presence stems from deep inner security. When someone knows their worth beyond their bank account, they don't feel compelled to prove themselves through constant verbal assertions or attention-seeking behavior. Their confidence is evident in how they carry themselves, how they acknowledge others, and how they remain centered regardless of the chaos around them. The art of presence involves understanding the power of nonverbal communication. Wealthy people often master the subtle cues that communicate authority, maintaining eye contact, adopting open postures, and moving with deliberate grace. They recognize that how they enter a space, where they position themselves, and how they engage with others can influence dynamics more effectively than any loud declaration of importance. Their impact often manifests in how others respond to them rather than what they actively do. People naturally turn to them for opinions, create space when they approach, and value their contributions without prompting. This natural deference isn't demanded, it's earned through consistent demonstration of wisdom, reliability, and genuine interest in others' perspectives. The true wealthy also understand the importance of timing in commanding presence. They know when to step forward and when to step back, when to speak and when to observe. This situational awareness allows them to maximize their impact without overshadowing others or appearing desperate for attention. They're comfortable sharing the spotlight and often prefer to elevate others, knowing that true power lies in creating value rather than claiming credit. This approach to controlling rooms extends beyond social situations into business environments. In meetings, they don't need to dominate discussions to influence outcomes. Their questions often guide conversations more effectively than statements, and their endorsement of others' ideas carries more weight because they choose their moments of support carefully. They understand that respect is earned through consistency and judgment, not volume and frequency of input. Perhaps most importantly, they recognize that genuine presence cannot be fabricated or forced. It emerges from a foundation of self-knowledge, experience, and authentic achievement. The wealthy invest in developing their character, expanding their understanding, and refining their judgment, knowing these qualities will naturally manifest in how they occupy any space they enter. This ability to control rooms with presence rather than noise becomes particularly valuable in today's world of constant digital chatter and performance. While others compete for attention through increasingly loud displays, the truly wealthy stand out by maintaining their composure and allowing their presence to speak for itself. They embody the understanding that real power doesn't shout, it resonates. Lesson 10. They network with purpose, not popularity. The truly wealthy understand that networking isn't about collecting business cards or accumulating LinkedIn connections. They approach relationship building with the same strategic mindset they apply to their investments, recognizing that meaningful connections are cultivated through intention, not chance. These people have mastered the art of selective networking, understanding that their time and energy are finite resources best invested in relationships that align with their values and goals. They aren't seen at every social gathering or industry event. Instead, they choose venues and occasions where they can engage with people who share their intellectual curiosity, entrepreneurial spirit, or philanthropic interests. The authentically affluent focus on quality over quantity in their professional relationships. They might maintain a smaller circle of connections, but each relationship is deep, mutual, and built on genuine rapport. These relationships often span decades and transcend traditional business boundaries, creating a trusted network that becomes an invaluable source of opportunities, insights, and support. In their networking approach, they practice the art of giving before receiving. They don't enter relationships asking what they can get. Instead, they consider what value they can add. This might mean making thoughtful introductions, sharing relevant expertise, or offering mentorship to promising people. This generous approach naturally creates a reciprocal dynamic that yields far greater returns than transactional networking ever could. The wealthy also understand the power of diverse networks. They deliberately connect with people across different industries, age groups, and backgrounds, recognizing that innovation and opportunity often emerge at the intersection of different worlds. These varied perspectives enhance their decision-making and keep them adaptable in an ever-changing business landscape. They're particularly skilled at identifying potential in others before it becomes obvious to the masses. While others might chase connections with currently successful people, the truly rich often invest time in relationships with emerging talents, visionaries, and those showing promise in their respective fields. This foresight has repeatedly proved valuable as these connections develop into mutually beneficial partnerships over time. Privacy remains paramount in their networking approach. They don't broadcast their connections or name-drop unnecessarily. Instead, they maintain discretion about their relationships, understanding that trusts and confidentiality are cornerstone values in high-level networks. This restraint has earned them reputations as reliable confidants and trusted advisors. The wealthy also recognize that meaningful networking extends beyond professional contexts. They engage in activities and join organizations that align with their personal interests, whether it's art collecting, environmental conservation, or educational initiatives. These passion-driven connections often prove more valuable than those formed in purely professional settings, as they're built on shared values and genuine enthusiasm. Their networking strategy includes regular maintenance of existing relationships, rather than just pursuing new ones. They remember important details about their connections' lives, celebrate their achievements, and stay present during challenging times. This consistent investment in relationship maintenance ensures their network remains strong and actively engaged over time. Through this purposeful approach to networking, the truly wealthy build ecosystems rather than contact lists. Their networks become living, breathing entities that generate opportunities, solve problems, and create value for all involved. This organic, purpose-driven approach to relationship building stands in stark contrast to the superficial networking often observed in social media and networking events, where the focus is on quantity over quality and immediate gratification over long-term value creation. Lesson 11. They spend less than they earn, always. The hallmark of lasting wealth isn't found in extravagant purchases or lavish displays, but in the disciplined practice of spending less than one earns. This fundamental principle separates those who build generational wealth from those who merely create the illusion of prosperity. The truly rich understand that maintaining a gap between income and expenses isn't just about accumulating money, it's about creating freedom, security, and opportunity. This spending discipline manifests in subtle ways that often go unnoticed by the casual observer. While others rush to upgrade their lifestyle with each pay increase, the wealthy maintain their existing standard of living even as their income grows. They understand that lifestyle inflation is the silent killer of wealth accumulation. Instead of expanding their expenses to match their income, they expand their investments, creating multiple streams of revenue that work while they sleep. The wealthy approach spending decisions with a different mindset altogether. They ask themselves not whether they can afford something, but whether the purchase aligns with their long-term financial goals. This doesn't mean they live miserly lives, quite the contrary. They spend generously on things that truly matter to them while remaining indifferent to social pressure to spend on things that don't. This selective luxury approach allows them to enjoy life while maintaining their wealth-building momentum. A key aspect of this trait is the understanding that true wealth isn't about how much money you make, but how much you keep. The wealthy often maintain detailed awareness of their cash flow without obsessing over every penny. They create systems that automatically direct portions of their income to investments, savings, and planned expenses. This automated approach removes the emotional element from financial decisions and ensures consistent wealth building over time. The practice of spending less than one earns requires a profound shift in how one views money. Instead of seeing money as a means to acquire things, the wealthy see it as a tool for creating more wealth. They understand that every dollar invested today has the potential to generate multiple dollars in the future. This perspective makes it easier to resist immediate gratification in favor of long-term financial growth. Sustained discipline extends beyond personal finances into business decisions. Wealthy people apply the same principle to their enterprises, maintaining healthy profit margins by controlling costs while maximizing revenue. They understand that sustainable business growth comes from reinvesting profits rather than extracting every dollar for personal use. The wealthy also recognize that maintaining financial discipline doesn't mean avoiding all debt. They distinguish between productive debt that generates returns, like a mortgage on an investment property, and consumer debt that drains resources, like credit card balances for discretionary purchases. This nuanced understanding of leverage allows them to use debt strategically while avoiding its pitfalls. Perhaps most importantly, the wealthy maintain this spending discipline regardless of their income level. Whether they're earning 6 figures or 7, the principle remains the same. This consistency creates a powerful compound effect over time as the gap between income and expenses grows increasingly wider. The resulting financial buffer provides not just security, but the freedom to take calculated risks and seize opportunities when they arise. Living below one's means isn't about deprivation. It's about choice and control. The wealthy understand that true financial freedom comes not from spending freely, but from having the option to spend freely while choosing not to. This subtle distinction shapes their entire approach to money management and wealth building. By maintaining this discipline year after year, they create not just wealth, but a legacy of financial wisdom that can benefit generations to come. Lesson 12. They control rooms with presence, not noise. True wealth carries a gravitational force that draws others in without the need for fanfare or attention-seeking behavior. The wealthiest people understand that commanding a room comes not from being the loudest voice, but from cultivating an authentic presence that naturally attracts others and inspires respect. This magnetic presence begins with self-awareness and inner stillness. The truly wealthy have mastered the art of being comfortable in their own skin, which allows them to remain centered and composed in any situation. They don't feel compelled to fill every silence or dominate every conversation. Instead, their calm demeanor and measured responses create a sense of stability that others naturally gravitate toward. Their influence stems from the quality of their contributions rather than the quantity of their words. When they speak, people listen, not because they demand attention, but because they've earned it through consistently delivering value and insight. They understand that power lies in selective communication, choosing moments of impact over constant commentary. The wealthy also recognize that controlling a room isn't about controlling people. Instead, they create environments where others feel heard, valued, and empowered. Their presence elevates the entire atmosphere, encouraging meaningful dialogue and authentic connections. They achieve this by maintaining genuine eye contact, offering thoughtful responses, and showing sincere interest in others' perspectives. Physical presence plays a crucial role as well. The truly rich carry themselves with dignified posture and deliberate movement, but without rigidity or pretense. Their body language communicates confidence and openness simultaneously, making others feel both impressed and at ease. This balanced presence allows them to navigate both boardrooms and casual gatherings with equal effectiveness. They understand the power of strategic positioning, often choosing locations within a room that allow them to observe and engage without dominating. Rather than rushing to the center of attention, they create their own center of gravity through their composed demeanor and meaningful interactions. Others naturally orient themselves around this quiet authority. The wealthy also recognize that controlling a room extends beyond physical presence to emotional intelligence. They read the energy of a space and adjust their approach accordingly, whether that means stepping forward to guide a discussion or stepping back to allow others to shine. This adaptability demonstrates true confidence and leadership. Their presence is marked by consistency rather than performance. While others might attempt to command attention through dramatic gestures or loud declarations, the truly wealthy maintain a steady, authentic presence that builds trust and respect over time. They understand that lasting influence comes from being reliably present rather than occasionally spectacular. This approach to controlling rooms reflects a deeper understanding of power dynamics. The wealthy know that true authority doesn't need to announce itself. It's felt rather than forced. Their presence creates a subtle but unmistakable impact that shapes the dynamics of any gathering without obvious effort or manipulation. By focusing on presence over noise, the truly wealthy demonstrate one of the most sophisticated forms of influence. They show that commanding a room isn't about domination or attention-seeking, but about creating an environment where genuine connection and meaningful interaction can flourish. This ability to influence through presence rather than proclamation is a hallmark of those who have mastered the art of wealthy behavior.